Welcome to the Time to Head North podcast. This one is going to be very different because this is going to have a little bit of a personal touch, and it's not it's not like a podcast. It's just me talking to you. And the reason I felt like doing this is because it is Men's Mental Health Awareness Month, but also Post-Traumatic Stress Awareness Month. My background is obviously combat veteran, multiple different deployments, struggled with post-traumatic stress and moral injury for many years. And I took my questions and went to get my education. So I have a bachelor's degree in social and criminal justice, and I have a master's degree in psychology and a master's degree in journalism. I am currently in a doctoral program as well for, don't worry about it. Doesn't matter. I'm someone who has a lot of experience in working with people who struggle with crisis. Okay. And in that, I've helped people with substance abuse and other things. And so to get to the point, I want to tell you 5 things that I like to focus on for people and try and identify these areas and mitigate these areas before they turn into a serious crisis. And so first, let's talk about the 5 areas of concern that I like to pay attention to in other people's lives. It's finances, relationships, pain, unhealed trauma, and addictions. Those are the 5 areas that I like to focus on because those are the top 5 areas where people find themselves in crisis. Okay. And when I say in crisis, that means find themselves pretty much at a point where they feel like they cannot control it anymore, or they feel like they're losing themselves. If we can mitigate those 5 areas first, we could actually find some answers. First things first, if you're going to focus on those 5, the first thing I think we need to focus on is going to be unhealed trauma. Unhealed trauma, balled up in that, is also a TBI. So if you have a background or proven that you have a TBI or have survived a lot of explosions in your training, in your life, whatever it might be, or a lot of punches to the head, you might have a TBI. Then the first thing I would do is focus on healing that TBI. There's a lot of clinics out there, and also checking your hormones. A lot of clinics out there that can help with TBIs. A lot of different supplements out there can help with TBIs. That is something that we need to fix right away. On top of that, let's go towards unhealed trauma. Okay. So unhealed trauma is an interesting one. Think of it as the foundation of what we do all day long. Okay. Think about if you're in the military and you are zeroing a weapon, you have to zero the weapon first before you can go qualify with your weapon. Zeroing your weapon means that you actually have to figure out where your weapon is firing first, and then you have to tighten it up to the point where it is accurate to where you're aiming. If you don't have a weapon that is zeroed, you cannot go shoot on a range because then you never know where you're doing. That means that if I had to correlate that to mental health, is that you need to fix the foundation first before you start trying to fix other things, or else you're never going to get it fixed. All right. It's always going to be off. So first things first, let's fix unhealed trauma. Unhealed trauma can be balled up in 2 different things. For me, is what I would say is going to be post-traumatic stress and moral injury. 2 different things, 2 different approaches on how to fix those. Okay. 1, I'd always recommend for you guys to go to a counselor if you have post-traumatic stress. There's many different modalities, many different tools they can use to help you heal trauma. Let me talk to you about post-traumatic stress before we get into moral injury. Okay. Post-traumatic stress, that is a physiological change or a physiological feeling, things that change in your body. I would say like breathing, heart rate, sweating, palpation, hypersensitive, happens when something is triggered from an original or a previous experience. So think about it. If a soldier overseas gets blown up in a vehicle, and now every time he drives, certain things might trigger him and he might get very sensitive to it. And that might cause a different breathing. It could cause sweating, irritation, a lot of different things. My point is, if that is some of the symptoms that you have, or hypervigilance and whatnot, then when I go to a counselor, I'd be telling them like, hey, I have post-traumatic stress and I'd love to see how I can mitigate some of these symptoms. This is what happened to me. You tell them the truth, and they will tell you they will tell you how they plan to work with you. There's a lot of different methods. I would have to try them all to tell you what works for you. Everyone is different. I'll tell you this. EMDR is one that helped me. I would look into it if I was you, but that is essentially a rapid eye movement therapy that has your eyes moving left and right and left and right. And what that does is creates a brain stimulation, and the brain stimulation activates your brain to kind of work appropriately. And it works appropriately while you are actually pulling up the traumatic event. The counselor will guide you through that traumatic event, ask you what you smell, what you hear, what you feel, what you think of during that moment of that traumatic event. And what they are trying to do is help you store that trauma appropriate into your brain, so that's no longer a visceral experience, but now a blurry, fuzzy memory. That's very important. A lot of things that counseling is doing is trying to help you reframe how you see it and think it. Okay. And so that it's not set in this kind of victim mentality, but more so a survival mentality. You have survived something very hard, and you are still out there in this world working hard and improving your life. That's where we want to get to. We want to reframe anything that makes us feel like a victim, makes us feel uncomfortable, and gives us that visceral feeling of, oh my God, I feel like I'm going through it all over again. And we got to get your mind and your brain into a place where it no longer sees it as a very, as an experience that continues to happen, but a blurry memory, so it doesn't affect you as heavily, right? And so these are just a few things. There's EMDR, there's DBT, there's a long list of different kinds of counseling that you can do to help with post-traumatic stress. Okay. Now let's get to moral injury. Moral injury is something that a lot of people don't talk about. And I believe we should. We should talk about it a lot more. Moral injury is essentially seeing something or being a part of something that doesn't feel right morally, right? And this comes down to everyone has a very different foundation of how they were raised. It could be faith-based. It could be family-based. It could be whatever that is. But if you feel that it is a questionable decision that was made, whether by you or the people around you, and you couldn't do anything about it, you can walk around the rest of your life with a little bit of guilt, right? That guilt can weigh heavy, and that guilt can make you feel a little bit disappointed in yourself, maybe because you experienced it or you're the one who did it. Whatever the case is, that is another type of counseling that you're going to have to address. But it's hard for a counselor to address that if you can't identify it yourself. Okay, a lot of people that are strong in faith that maybe had to be a part of something overseas, innocent bystanders accidentally getting killed in combat, whatnot. I'm just giving examples. This can trigger someone to feel that they're not worthy of going to heaven, right? That their God might judge them. And things like that, it's just an examples I'm giving you, is that can create moral injury. And a moral injury is something that can stick with you a lot longer than what you think. And that is something that, again, you have to reframe it in your mind, and you have to find a counselor that can help you reframe that in a way that it is digestible and comfortable, and that you can accept and you can move forward and be happy. Okay, so broad spectrum, broad strokes here, but just remember that post-traumatic stress and moral injury, those are two areas that I would try and heal first before you start trying to fix other things in your life, because without those two, your life can continue to spin and spiral out of control. Okay, so now that we got those out of the way, the next one we'll talk about is pain. So a lot of people have pain in their lives, and pain is something that, it can kind of fester into something worse, and you become less active. You become very angry, and it's a very complicated thing that you see a lot of people get into addiction of pain meds. You can see a lot of people just stop being active as they used to be, and that makes people more unhappy in life, right? You're not activating some of those brain hormones that pump you up, right? Those endorphins, right? And so if you have issues with pain, there's several areas that I would say that I would recommend for you. I would look into chiropractors. I would look into stem cell treatments. I would look into your fitness. If you can get yourself active again with fitness, and again, check those hormones. If you can get yourself active again in fitness, you can start developing some strength around your body and really improve your overall well-being and your overall feeling. And then you can move past that and continue moving to other areas of life and accomplishing some crazy things like 5Ks, 10Ks, half marathons, who knows what. And once you're able to defeat the pain, you're able to see life in a better light. And I promise you, it's super valuable. So I would look into your hormones. I would look into getting a gym membership and getting into a community of people who work out and can push you to be better. I would look into what stem cell treatment looks like for you in your area. And I would also look out some chiropractic practices, some yoga practices, some Pilates, things that can help you get more mobile. Okay, so look into those. Things that also could help is the cold water therapy that people use, the immersion. So it would be like Wim Hof method. Also, you can do the opposite of the cold, go towards the heat and go towards sauna or steam room. Those are all very effective ways of just kind of improving your body's mobility, improving your body's mental state, improving your body's, I guess, almost like detoxifying the system. Okay, so look into those. I think they're very valuable. And yeah, try that. Next. Okay, we've talked about healing trauma. Okay, we've talked about the importance of how do you kind of heal the pain. Let's talk about finances. Something that I think a lot of people struggle with no matter what, especially today's day and age, so it is completely understandable. But finding a way to get financial literacy, understanding how to save money and how to put money away for those rainy days, and as well as making sure that you're finding a career that you're very satisfied with that can financially sustain you no matter what. And so when I talk about all these different areas, I want you to think about how you can also compound interest of hard things, right? Compound interest of crisis. If your body's not feeling so fresh, a lot of pain, and you don't have the money to go get stem cell treatment, you don't have money to go get testosterone replacement therapy, you don't have the money to do boom, boom, boom. So you see how I understand how this can create a compound effect of hardship. And so this is why we need to learn how to be financial literate so we can put some money aside and invest back into ourselves, into our health. And that is super important. So when people come to me struggling with finding a job, I tell them or finding a job that financially satisfy them, I tell them if they have any kind of benefits for school, get back into school, get your education on, and start moving towards a direction. And that could be regular education. That could be that could be the different things like plumbing and electrician, a lot of different areas that pay very well, even during hard times like now. And so look into those different spaces. Maybe a change of career field is something you need to look into. Maybe, find what you can do with your mental health at the time. Sometimes maybe Ubering, maybe DoorDash delivery. Look for options and how you can just make more money. I know at the time saving money is hard. If you're not very good at that, I believe it's almost easier to find a way to make a little bit more money. And when you make that decision, at that point, hopefully you're educated enough to start saving that money. Another quick tip, I'm talking fast as heck. Go download an app called, Rocket Money, I believe it's called. Dang, I'm sorry, I don't know off the top of my head, but I believe it's called Rocket Money. That right away will find all the subscriptions that you're subscribed to that you don't even realize. It saved me like $150 last month. And so it's something really quick that you guys can save yourself a couple $100 right now and get started. Get that $150 that you save yourself and put that straight into savings, and boom, now you have a savings. Okay, so think about that one. Next, we talked about finance, but let's talk about relationships. Because last we'll talk about addictions, but relationships. Sometimes a part of your trauma from your childhood or your trauma as an adult causes a heavy weight on the relationships. A lot of decisions we make in a relationship could be based on some of our past traumas that are not allowing us to be happy. We refuse to be happy. We don't believe we deserve to be happy. And so what I'm telling you is that you need to go check what you can with the counselor and fix the past so then you can have a happier future. And you can teach yourself how to live a happier lifestyle. Not all of us know what good love looks like, right? When not all of us know what a healthy relationship looks like. I would ask you to do yourself a favor. If you're having struggles in your relationship, find a counselor that could understand how to explain how to have a healthy relationship with your significant other fast. It's super important to have someone on your side who's pushing you to be a better person every day, someone who loves on you, someone who doesn't hold animosities towards you, but someone who genuinely makes you feel better about yourself every day and pushes you to be a better person. If your significant other for some reason doesn't do that, well, then maybe you guys need some counseling. Maybe there's some pent up aggression or frustration because of something in your relationship. And it could be because of some of the other areas of potential crisis that are weighing down heavy on the relationship. Okay. So think about that. The relationship is very valuable. We all want to feel loved. We all are deserving of love. And if the significant other that you're with right now causes too much turmoil because of both of you, right? There's two sides of that story. Maybe we should seek counseling. Let's ask some questions. There's several really fantastic books out there. And I would highly recommend it. I think I have one right here. Let me find it real quick. This is a great book that I worked with a counselor and me and my wife, not because we had any issues, because we just didn't want to run into issues. Okay. So look at this book. I find it to be very, very, insightful in different areas of our lives that we have struggled with miscommunication and whatnot. So work on the relationship. And if you don't have a significant other, work on yourself. Once you heal that trauma, you'll be ready and you'll be in better shape. If you use all the different tools that we're teaching, you'll be in better shape mentally, physically, emotionally, and spiritually. And so that you can find someone that is on your wavelength and you guys can be happier together. Okay. So think about that. And then the last thing I want to talk about is addictions. Okay. I've been sober for 6 years and I didn't really think it would change my life so significantly because I didn't think I was the type of person that had a problem. I wasn't the type of person that would say I was an addict for any reason or I was addicted to alcohol or an alcoholic. But, I did find a lot of reasons to drink and a lot of reasons to celebrate and a lot of reasons to mourn with alcohol in my hands. And what I realized is that I wasn't willing to face life without it. And that meant that I didn't have coping mechanisms that were healthy. And so all that means is that I wasn't strong enough. I didn't allow myself to build these tools and build this maturity level. I'll say the maturity level to handle life as it comes. I was using alcohol as a tool to kind of mask it, hide it, and avoid. And that's dangerous. It can get to a point where that's controlling your life. And I didn't want to get to that point. It is one of the number one things veterans and first responders turn to when they have a stressful day and they go, now it feels better. And that is a telltale sign that you are addicted or that you are not ready to cope with life without it. And that's something I would look into. So I would highly recommend every single one of you check and balances on your drinking, checks and balances on your smoking or whatnot, and even pain meds. It is the only thing in our lives that we do for some reason that is not healthy. You're not improving your life. You're just distracting. And in my opinion, I don't want to have vices like that in my life. I want to be able to remember every memory of my kids. I want to be able to remember every memory with my wife. And I don't want to mask myself from reality anymore. I want to face it because I believe I'm strong enough and I've implemented the tools in my life to keep me strong enough. Life will get hard. That's the truth. But if you implement different mitigation tools, different things like breathing is something I use quite a bit. Fitness. I go to the gym. I started going to the gym again. I found myself fighting depression, right? Fighting the demons. And I went to the gym. I've been going to the gym. I feel very proud of myself. I'm growing, and I'm improving. And that's all it takes. Sometimes when I'm stressed out, I'll tell you I do journaling, right? Other things I do is we go for a walk, me and my wife. There's a long list of things you can do that is part of your wellness journey in keeping yourself in homeostasis, in a happy place where if life does, surprise you with something negative, because it will, then you have all the tools you've implemented in those areas of your life that make it so that you can handle it, you can get through it, and you've built resiliency to face it and keep moving forward. So this is just a quick message to me. There's the 5 areas that I like to focus on, and that is relationships, fitness, unhealed trauma, addictions, and pain. And if you can focus on those 5 right now in your life, what areas of those can you improve? Where can you work on? And what are the tools you can implement in your life to make it better? That's what I would do. Start there. Put a little note in your phone. Those are the 5 areas that I would focus on. Look at your life, take a deep assessment, and be real with yourself. Take a serious assessment of your life and see how you can improve it daily. All right. That's it. This is a very different type of episode from Time to Head North. I hope you guys liked it. If you have any questions in mental health, if you guys need any resources, please DM us and we'll send you any resource we have in your area. Okay. Take care. God bless. I love you.